First thing we're going to do is use the quadratic formula and find the solutions. I'm going to put it in the bottom left box. And before we can excuse me, use the quadratic formula, we need to make sure that this is set equal to 0. And I see that it's not. So to do so, we are going to move the 4 to the right side, to the left side. So this is going to be minus 4 on both sides, so that that cancels, and I'm left with 0. When I write what's left here, that doesn't go together because he does not have an x. So you write it 3x squared minus 4x minus 4. And now, let me focus a little bit because I noticed that the screen is not focused. Okay, that's better. Now I can see my A, my B, and my C. So A is 3, B is negative 4, and C is negative 4. So now we're going to use the quadratic formula. X equals negative B. So I have to plug in my B and write the negative. Plug in my B and write the negative. This is from the song, and B is negative. So I do have 2 of them this time. Plus or minus the square root of B squared. So negative 4 squared. Minus 4 times A times C. All over 2 times A. Now we're going to simplify that. Negative times a negative is a positive, so that's 4. 2 times 3, is 6. Plus or minus all of that. Now, you can do this by hand and get your 16 here, and then do your plus, because he's negative and he's negative, and it becomes positive, and then that becomes 48, and then do your 16 plus 48 to get your answer. Then take the square root of that. And I know I just said a whole bunch of stuff, and you're probably saying, what, miss? Or for those that need additional assistance, you can use your calculator. So let me zoom in and show you what you would type in. And I'm only saying what to do by hand on this part for those that are doing it by hand. For those that need a calculator, you would type parentheses, negative 4, square it. You have to put it in parentheses. See, can you see it now? Okay, and then you would do minus, because in the song we do B squared minus 4, not negative 4, but minus 4 times A, and A was 3, times C, and C was negative 4. And it gives us 64. So remember earlier I said that he would be 16, and then this would be plus 48, and that would give you 64, wouldn't it? And so now, what do we do? Well, we need to split this up, because we need to add and we need to subtract. So what are we going to add? Well, we have to divide by 6 first. That needs to be on there. And when I say divide by 6 first, I'm referring to I need to move him over, not actually divide him first, okay? We're going to actually do that last. And then I need to move the 4 over. And then I need to write a number here and then a number here. The question is, what number am I going to write? So if you need to do the square root of 64 in the calculator, I can show you how to do that. But you should know that 8 times 8 is 64. Therefore, the square root of 64 is 8. If you need the calculator, you would go to the calculator screen, hit Control, and then the x squared button by the 4, and it gives you the square root symbol in the calculator. And there is the 8. So I'm now going to replace that square root of 64 with 8. I asked this today in class. I said, what's the difference between this and these two? Well, first of all, it's split up. One's plus and one's minus instead of them both being together. The second thing is, it says 4, it says 6, but it no longer says the square root of 64. It says 8. Because the square root of 64 is 8. And I do not keep the radical sign over the 8. One reason, because the calculator didn't. But honestly, you can't, because the square root of 64 is just the number 8 with no radical. Now we finish. So this is 12 divided by 6, which is 2. This is negative 4 divided by 6, which should be negative 2/3. If you have problems figuring that out, you can go to the calculator and type control divide 4 plus 8 divided by 6. It gives you 2. And then you could do control divide negative 4 minus 8. Forgot my control divide. 4 minus 8 over 6. And it gives me negative 2/3. Okay, on the next video, I'm going to show you what to do in the bottom right box so that you can factor and then find your zeros.